out all you candy ass rappers. You chumps gotta get out for having the game backwards. Shit, hip hop is life, roots and culture. Front and watch these goons swoop down like a vulture. The future is now, it's back to the real. So here, we putting it down, baptizing the skill. Spilling lyrical penicillin on you sick niggas, rhythms are healing. Slick quick draw on you stick figures. See them kids haven't eaten since last week. Folks losing their job, family sleeping in the street. Friends turn enemies and for pennies they squeeze heat. Scandals running more deep, big titties ain't always sweet. So gimmicks is problems, and here's the solution. Can't buy out the mall when you starving, you lack execution. Hustle and flow, I flex, muscle and blow. Violate my grind and hate, and I'ma bust you for show. Let's get going.
He's got lots of gods and I know we got the size. Knowledge, power, sense. Knock you off balance. He's got lots of gods and I know we got the size. Knowledge, power, sense.
So what about the preparation and before the last year or so?
From coming off the British last year, I went straight back into, on a Monday morning after the British, just packing on as much size as possible. So I started off around 5,000 calories, keeping the carbs super high. From that point, I just kept adding a little bit extra until about May time when I started my prep for the UKBFF Northeast. I was maybe hitting about 7,000 calories a day. Carbs were still super high, moderate fats, moderate protein, nothing too, like I said, I'm not a massive fan of super high protein. For the prep, just a little bit off the carbs every couple of weeks, just monitoring it by the mirror and stuff like that. And then by midway through the prep, I added a considerable amount of cardio, so I added high intensity interval sessions, and they seemed to work really well. But towards the end of the prep, I had to cut them out because I was losing muscle mass. I was getting really flat really quickly. So
what kind of stuff were you doing with cardio?
I was on the bike. So what I'd done was I'd do 30 minutes, a minute and a half off, or a minute and a half low intensity, and then 30 seconds just blasting it. But I stopped doing that, and then I moved to fasted cardio in the morning. And after each session, I was getting full, and it was weird how my body was reacting compared to the intervals training. So I stayed with that right up into the British. I think I was still doing fasted cardio on the Wednesday before. And that really worked for me. So definitely the next prep, that's what's going to be done from the start. So did that, and then towards the end of the prep, I was doing on my off days, I was doing really low carb, high fat, high protein. I noticed a lot of really good dryness with that. My body dried out really quickly with that, and that's the technique I used the night before the British as well. So I carved up, and then just had high fat, high protein up until around 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I started adding the carbs back in, and that seemed to really do the trick in terms of water and just drying out, staying full, and so I was quite chuffed with how that was going. So
what were your training leading up to the competition? Did it change?
It did. Up until about 12 weeks out, I was doing high volume, and that's what I've always done. But then myself and my training partner started using more Dorian Yates style training, like the high intensity training, but with our own little tweaks and with those techniques, and my condition just started coming in, like I would say about 10 times quicker than what I was doing when I was doing volume. I was getting that, especially in my legs, I was getting that grainy hardness, and so I just continued with that right up until, I think I was still doing like Dorian style workouts up until the Saturday before, and then after that it was just pump through sessions, just getting the blood into the muscle and that. So that, yeah, the training did change. I'm still doing high intensity stuff just now because I noticed some size added on as well, even when I was depleted. So I'm definitely sticking to that style of training just now. It seems to be really working for me. So
how's it when you're on stage then in British? How are you feeling?
After doing really badly the year before, I was just happy to be back in much better condition than I was then. I was happy to make top 6. So when I made top 6, that to me was winning, because I'd done so poorly the year before, and you know, people can see from my Facebook that I was just delighted to make top 6. And then so I phoned my eyes, Graham Park, and he just said, just battle out as hard as you can. You made the top 6, you achieved the goal you want to achieve, so just battle out as hard as you can. So that's what I did, just try to get in front of guys, just show folk what I've managed to do in the past year. And it came to the awards. It came to the routines first, and I just tried to hit my routine as hard as possible. Just every single transition, every single pose, just as hard as I could. And then when they started reading out the awards, you know, in my head I was going, before they'd said anything, it's okay, I'm happy with 6th, and then they called 6th, and then 5th, 4th, and then top 3. I couldn't believe I made top 3. And when they called Dave in 3rd, like that was unreal, because I was quite down about my qualifier having been beaten. And then when they called Matt Townsend in 2nd, I just like, as you can see from the video on Facebook, I just fell to the floor. I don't actually remember doing that, but yeah, it was just something else. I mean, to go from not even placing, not even to getting a call out the year before, to winning, it was just overwhelming. It wasn't until about the Wednesday I'd actually come to terms with what I'd actually done. Yeah, it's just, honestly, my fingers are hurting from the amount of texts and emails and Facebook notifications and stuff. But it's been absolutely fantastic, and even just in the past week, people have come up to me and said, "Oh, I think about competing in that." After seeing you compete, it's overwhelming, and I didn't realise how much of an influence I actually had over people and that. But you know, I like to think I'm quite humble, and every guy that was on that stage in the top 6, and even the guys who didn't make top 6, there was some absolutely cracking physiques, and it was a dogfight in the top 6, and every guy had something unique about them, and every guy was really impressive. Like the judges said, it was the best top 6 he's ever seen. So you know, like I said, I was just glad to make top 6 and done that, and I got number 1. I've still got 2 years left in the juniors, so. Well, I'm waiting to hear back from the IFBB about possible invitations to certain things next year, but hopefully I can get back to the British and get number 2, because I think some people, once they've won one thing, they're like, okay, I'll move on. But if I've still got 2 years left, you know, I'm quite a big guy about conditioning, and you're only going to get that grainy, hard condition if you keep competing. So I didn't want to take a year, 2 years off to add size, and then come back in 2 years' time and the condition is not as good as I thought it would be. So definitely next year, hopefully I can get to the British again and just come in a million times better than I was even when I won this. So just bigger, fuller, harder, better condition, just everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next year. Yeah, thanks very much. Cheers. Thanks.
And I know we got the size, knowledge, power, sense, knock you off balance. Knowledge, power, sense.